If you're very, very stupid, how can you possibly realize that you're very, very stupid?
Dunning-Kruger, Dunning-Kruger, Dunning-Kruger.
Problem that we have with China is they own a ton of our debt. We still have the most weapons. If we've got the most nukes, they kind of know they're never going to get paid back.
I can prove to you that the ice caps are melting. There's ice in my water right now. I'm going to leave the water unattended until the ice melts. Will the water overflow out of the cup?
As the ice melts, will the water overflow over the top of the glass?
I think so.
There's a wonderful bit of research by a guy called David Dunning.
You'll ramble on for 35 minutes and not make a point.
You realize how ridiculous this is. You're relying on the hearsay of someone that never even read the document. It's a ridiculously low bar of evidence.
I mean, I don't know.
Street smart people don't need data. I've just been around. I just know things.
Honestly, that is so relatable to me, I can't even explain it.
Again, we're using your all stats that you all love per capita with. So since you always use violent crime...
Per capita, not per capital. There's no L at the end.
You want to say it, sir, you know what I'm saying.
I first became aware of people throwing around Dunning-Kruger as an insult back in the heyday of the Yahoo News comment sections. This was a while ago now, back before Yahoo shut them down for being too toxic. I take a quick look from time to time whilst checking my email, and they were a rancid space, full of barely literate reactionary internet vermin who were too stupid to have figured out how to use Twitter yet. I don't know how Dunning-Kruger entered the collective Yahoo consciousness, but it spread through the comments section like amoebic dysentery through a Southeast Asian prisoner of war camp. The reference was always couched in clumsy language. They would say things like, another victim of Dunning-Kruger, or another candidate for Dunning-Kruger. They would make Dunning-Kruger sound like a brain prion or a law firm. I knew what they meant, obviously, but whoever was bandying it around seemed to be bandying it around in a manner that suggested that they didn't know how actual words work. It seemed a study, frequently cited as evidence that stupid people don't realize they're stupid, was now the insult of choice for the discerning moron. An easy win for someone wanting to sound intelligent without doing the actual work of saying something intelligent. I mean, intelligent or educated or reasoning people do not conduct their discourse in the Yahoo comment sections. By all means, go there if you want to argue about red carpet dresses or fantasy football, but you really shouldn't be getting into politics or anything that requires a modicum of nuance. Now, it is worth pointing out before somebody else does that the Dunning-Kruger study is a heavily flawed and misunderstood study. I'm not getting into that here. The fact that the morons who invoke the study misunderstand the study is an extra level of... Look, I'm not even sure English has a word for the kind of layered self-unawareness where somebody doesn't realize they have misunderstood a concept about self-awareness that they are using to cast aspersions on the self-awareness of a third party. It sounds like something the Germans might have a word for. I'm going to have to wing it. Meta-irony, reflexive irony, oroboric irony, recursive stupidity. I like recursive stupidity, but there's something poetically satisfying about oroboric irony, a kind of irony that's eating its own tail. I don't think it's right, though. Whatever, it's beyond the scope of this video. I'm not getting into it. I'm happy to proceed with this video on the assumption that Dunning-Kruger means or demonstrates what they think it means or demonstrates. Namely, A, stupid people don't realize they're stupid, or B, unskilled/unqualified people overestimate their knowledge/skill. Now, I wish I'd screen capped some of the most egregious uses I saw over the years in the Yahoo comments section. Some of the garbage in the Yahoo comments defied belief. Let's have a look at Twitter, X, whatever. I have neither the time nor the inclination to go trawling round looking for the worst offenders. This is the result of a 5-minute search. I literally put Dunning-Kruger into the search bar, scrolled down for a few minutes, clicked on the profile of the person using it, and had a quick look at their replies and posts to ascertain whether or not they were morons. Some of you might scream foul here and say that the reason I find a high proportion of idiots using the term as an insult is because a high proportion of X users are idiots anyway, and I should run, as a control group, a second application or site where the users aren't so uniformly stupid. Okay, it's not scientific, don't tell Professor Dave. Here we go. Look at this guy. Every insult has Dunning-Kruger in it. He's obsessed with it. Everyone's a Dunning-Kruger and a recalcitrant. You've got to wonder if it's the only big word he knows. Was this word of the day on dictionary.com or something? This is not how intelligent people operate, even when they're insulting others. If someone's being disingenuous, you call them disingenuous. If someone's oversimplifying, you point it out. Hell, there's no excuse for this, not with ChatGPT. All you've got to do is to go over to ChatGPT, feed in the comments you want to critique, and then ask the AI to do it. Then ChatGPT says something like, "This post is flippant." Then you go back to Twitter and accuse the writer of flippancy. It's not hard. You can't just call everybody with a different opinion recalcitrant. It makes you sound like a moron. There is no God and Islam is evil. Okay, I agree with him there. Here's another. Okay, if you are following, reposting, or engaging with libs of TikTok on X, you are a fucking moron. Libs of TikTok is absolute slop. It's 40% proof slop. The hard stuff. The bottom of the slop iceberg. Libs of TikTok is everything wrong with the internet. Am I saying that because I'm a butthurt woke snowflake lib? No, I'm not. There's left-wing slop and there's right-wing slop. Libs of TikTok is just objectively slop. It's a mean-spirited, toxic runoff of clickbait, ragebait, lies and bullshit videos that were knocking around 5 years ago and are being reposted now to squeeze every precious drop of outrage from its mindless followers. The horrible bitch who runs it has actually admitted to lying. Imagine following a news account that not only has a demonstrable history of peddling lies, but whose owner freely admits it. You've got no business Dunning-Krugering someone. Some dude here got himself a little Dunning-Kruger sticker to save himself time typing it out. Right, first reply. Legacy media coverage of Hesketh was 100% negative, therefore legacy media are not fair and an enemy of the people. Dunning-Kruger effect dude agrees 100%. There you are, there's the stupidity in the first reply. 100% negative is not necessarily unfair. It could be that Hesketh was, in fact, objectively bad. That seems to be the consensus from those in attendance. Legacy media is under no obligation to be nice to someone in the interests of fairness. Coverage of the 9/11 attackers was 100% bad. Does that mean it's not fair? Right, what about this guy? Reposting Elon. Not a good start. If bartenders can go to jail for over-serving someone, a judge should... Shit, I don't know if that's equivalent. Whatever, we all know the incident he's talking about, right? That guy. Maybe there's a conversation to be had here. Judges work by sentencing guidelines, right? Was the judge following the sentencing guidelines? If so, it's an issue with the guidelines, not the judge. You can't jail somebody for following the law. Are judges liable for negligence as a result of their sentences? I don't know. I guess I'd be interested to hear the opinion of somebody more knowledgeable. But that is not this guy. Posting this shit is not intelligent debate. This is the work of someone who doesn't know what sentencing guidelines are. Throw the judges in jail if they give a sentence too lenient to somebody who ends up killing someone, like what they do for bartenders. Fuck out of here. Here's another. Right, what's her problem? China has surpassed the US in civil engineering. For sure. Wow, that's a brave statement. How did she come to this conclusion? I'm not a civil engineer, but I imagine there's a lot of nuance here. For example, how does she weigh the difficulties the US faces in completing projects because of safety, environmental, regulatory, long-term durability standards, which, being stricter, lead to slower and more costly but potentially longer-lasting infrastructure against China's ability to complete projects faster and cheaper? How did she factor into her damning indictment of the US the fact that the US completed a greater proportion of its major civil engineering projects long ago and are now more concerned with renovation rather than starting new projects? A quick Google search tells me that the US still leads in many cutting-edge civil engineering subfields such as advanced materials, resilient structures, performance under extreme events, earthquakes and storms, etc., sustainability, green building, and so on. Of course she didn't factor any of this in. She's seen a pretty aerial publicity shot of a misty bridge and decided that this is proof that China has surpassed the US in terms of civil engineering. Where are the US's pretty bridges? Why isn't the US building bridges over gorges? Here is an absolute embodiment of the Dunning-Kruger effect, if the Dunning-Kruger effect meant what she thinks it means. Somebody with little or no knowledge of a subject making broad, sweeping, confident statements. Absolute brain rot. Right, done with these clowns. I think I've proved my point.